too.
Hey, I try. Welcome everybody to Let's Grow Pulling Monday, February 5th. Kenzie here, and we got Larry and Chuck. We all were in Satsuma, Florida last weekend. Great pull. Nice and warm. Nice change for having 70s instead of 30s. So we'll take that. But yeah, great show.
It was a very good show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
The crowd was great.
Mark Kelsey and his crew did a fabulous job. I can only see bigger and better things happen for him. I know they were running around like chicken with their heads cut off most of the weekend, but looks like he had plenty of help. I know Jeremy and his wife come down and surprised Mark and the family to help out for a while, so that was another great addition. Hey, I see a faceless Matt Hart joined us.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he has audio yet or not.
Larry got to work with Matt all weekend. He's quite the talker, isn't he? Great guy.
Yeah, he said it was his pleasure to work with me, and I said, well, hang on a minute, you'll get a different opinion of that. So, but we had fun, and he learned a lot of things that I'm sure he'll never use in life. Just saying.
Nope. It was good to see you and Matt. We ran into each other back in 2019. We came down to Ocala and pulled. I think that was the first year that the mini rods were actually there in Ocala, and Megan brought the V6 down, and we got to shoot fireworks out the exhaust there on Saturday night on it. And I don't remember the flagman's name there for the NTPA that was there on Saturday night, but he remembered it very well.
Yeah, well, the finish in would have been Mike Griffin, and the starting line would have been Dale McGregor. So.
There you go, Dale McGregor. There you go. That is who it was. But
he don't forget anything. He's got mind like a steel. I guess the nice word is trap. But anyway,
there you go. But no, Mackenzie has always did a great job up there on her podium. We always like to put her high and mighty, whether it's on a man lift, 30 foot in the air at Zellwood, or up on the flag stand in Satsuma, where she spent most of her weekends. So,
yes, of course, got to get that good shot.
Yep. Did a great job. Jason,
she's the coolest.
Yeah,
she's the coolest beer money employee they've got.
That's right.
See, even Larry.
At least the one hand that was frozen to death by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'd have thought Jason could have bought her a glove, but hey.
Oh, it was in my back pocket, but I can't use the camera.
Touch the buttons.
Yes.
Oh, Michael Jackson only wore one glove. You could have.
Exactly.
That's right. So finishing up, we'll wrap up Satsuma here. Had 2 wonderful nights of pulling. We had people from all over. There were some Badger State guys that were down. We had Grand National mini rods to the just small block mini rods. They had 20 of them show up, which really surprised Mark as I talked to him Saturday night. Hopefully they put on a good show for everybody, kind of a few wild rides. But other than that, what's your take on that there, Larry?
Well, we had 20 of them, like you say, and I don't think there was really a rut in the litter. I mean, they all performed well, and a couple of them that were small tire and very small cubes, you could tell, didn't go that far. But like you say, a couple wild rides, but most certainly they had a good time, and they put on a good show, and the crowd liked it. Tremendous crowd on Saturday night. Friday night was a good crowd, but Saturday night, Mark's wife said this is pretty overwhelming. It's more than they expected or were prepared for.
Yep. What was really funny is a puller and a fan to be on the infield side and look at it, that everybody was at the starting line and behind the sled, and Mark had put them brand new bleachers together there down at the finish line, and there were 2 people. Mark said he went down and sat down there just to say someone sat at the finish line. He couldn't get the people to move down the track. I don't know if people were just new truck and tractor pulling, or just thought that was a better place to sit?
First off, somebody that had a comment, "Where's my Diet Coke and Crown?" Well, it's just Diet Coke anyway. But no, I asked that question: why is everybody starting or sitting at the wrong end? And supposedly in the round world, they want to be near the start finish line, and they like to watch them go into that first turn. And so their mindset was, we need to sit down here. And wow, I wonder where you got that picture. Anyway, some fat guy went out of the booth and took it. But no, they set it to starting line, and they slowly migrated towards the finish end, but it didn't work like it should have. And I tried to tell everybody, hey, that this end's where you should set, but they were too used to going to the other end. They thought it was the place to set, and that's fine. They got to see them firing them up, and they got to see good runs, but really wasn't a bad seat in the house.
No, absolutely not. Mark's done a great job with that, and he leveled that front stretch, I guess, if you want to say it, almost to level, and took the banking out of it, and then he's got to put it all back for them flat trackers that are going to come in. Is it the first weekend in March, or I think that they're going to come in and do a flat track race,
right?
And it's the 17th or something like that. They're going to have some kind of dirt drag race in there. They had that vehicle on display there all weekend. Little bitty wheelbase and great big cubic inch and big paddle tires on it, looked like to me.
He fired it up to move it when I was coming down out of the grandstand, and I thought, wow, that sounds healthy. Not that I've ever been around a supercharged engine, but it was definitely a healthy unit.
Yep. Talking about supercharged engines, it was good to see Jeff Hurt and Cody Singletary and Kevin Hill. They all had their Grand National mini rods there. Was very nice addition. I think they were all pretty pleased. Talked to Jeff there after Friday. He come back with Little Bear, I think. He was first hook and come back, and sounded like it was only running on about 6 cylinders. He said it was. He forgot that particular engine in that. Likes to eat up the plugs after the first run. And by the time he got the second run on it, burnt the ends off of 3 of the plugs. So something he knew was going to happen, and it happened.
Right. He got second place the first night to Dick Storeholder out of Michigan, and Dick laid down a beautiful run. And then the second night, he come back, and he was loaded for Bear, Little Bear, Big whatever. Yeah, he was loaded and for Bear. And my gosh, when he went out the gate the second night, it was like, I'm going to win this dang thing.
Yep. Well, I don't know if you've seen it there on Saturday night when he come back for his second hook on whichever one, but it set out a flash out the front end of that. I was sitting right at the end of the track. Looked like a camera flash come out of the front of it, and I talked to him afterwards. I says, what in the heck? Is everything okay? He says, yeah, it blew the rev limiter chip out of the rev box.
It did. I thought
it was actually the rev limiter. It was a white as white flame that I've ever seen. But Kenzie's showing some pictures of the turbine tractors there. There, it was the judge and the jury there.
Right.
But it was something, I hate to say it, but something I'm looking forward to already. I told the wife she couldn't get off this weekend to go, but I think she'll be there next year. And we might even bring the little tire just to let her play in the Satsuma dirt down there.
Sure. Well, I'm pretty sure Mark's going to do it again, and I hope he does. And I don't know whether he'll have NTPA involved, but nevertheless, I hope to be able to come down and work the show. But it was a tremendous event. He worked his butt off. I mean, it showed too. You could tell that everybody there cared and worked at it. And I don't think anybody that was there basically as a staff position, I don't think anybody thought, well, this is just a job. I mean, they cared about it. You could tell.
And with you being with the NTPA, did you hear a lot of comments from the NTPA guys of what they thought about the track and facility?
Well, remember, I used to be with the NTPA, and now I'm with another logo. But I was working with the NTPA. I still wake up in the middle of the night and think, Grand National Champion Series. I mean, I still have trouble deciding. But no, they were tickled. I talked to Marvin Epperson afterwards, and he goes, "Well, how'd I do?" And I says, "Well, I'm not to judge you. You replaced me." He goes, "Yeah, but what do you think?" I thought, "I think you had to have a show." So he did. Yeah, it really did.
That's awesome. I know the Grand National 2-wheel drives come in on Saturday night show.
Right.
put on a really good show. I think that grandstand side seemed like it was a little bit better track than the infield side from Friday night. But no, I think they were on the right track for the horsepower and stuff they had on that track. And Mark, like I said, did a whale of a job trying to keep the track even for everybody, as all tracks normally do. But yeah, have no complaints whatsoever as a puller and as a fan of pulling.
That wasn't Grand National 2-wheel drive. That was regional 2-wheel drive.
Regional 2-wheel drive. That's right.
All 4 of those were Region 6 classes on Saturday night, and only 3 of them were Region 6 classes on Friday night.
Gotcha.
And all those qualify with Ocala and Satsuma and Clay County coming up. They'll actually get a qualifier from Region 6 in those classes for the Enderley Pull-Off. It's in September. So they were competing for prize money, and they're also competing for the end of season points, which the biggest challenge and the biggest benefit is to be accepted to the Enderley Pull-Off.
That I did hear a few guys mention that about qualifying for the Enderley. And Kevin Hill was left some stuff down there for that third pull you were talking about there coming up. Is that in March, I believe?
No, it's April. Oh, wait, please hold. Your call is important to us. But no, I think it's I
think you are right.
I didn't know there was going to be a test. It's going to be up here in about 3, 2. Well, talk about something else. I'll be right back.
That's all right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we are live on the Let's Grow Pulling podcast YouTube channel for everyone that's trying to find it. So we're not on Beer Money. We're on Let's Grow Pulling live or Let's Grow Pulling podcast YouTube channel for people that are asking.
And that's Mackenzie back at the Beer Money studio.
Of course.
Back in Wisconsin. I'm in Northwest Illinois. Larry, where are you at?
I'm west of Indianapolis, about 10 minutes in beautiful Brownsburg, Indiana, where all the race teams came to land because they wanted to get that tax break from the state of Indiana. I mean, Schumacher Racing's here, John Forst Racing's here, a bunch of them.
Cool people.
Ron Cat, a bunch of them, all about 4 miles from my house. What used to be a bean field that I used to cut beans in when it was a swamp. And now, of course, they put a street down it. But April 13th and 14th is the Clay County Fair in Green Cove Springs, Florida, which is just south of Jacksonville. Excuse me. I left my camper down there. I know a bunch of guys left some equipment down there. Probably a 30-minute drive from Satsuma to Green Cove Springs.
Nice. To answer your question, Austin, there was 18 on Friday night and 20 on Saturday night of the NA minis.
Yep. What are we reading here?
What's good, y'all? I'm giving $4,000 to the first 3 people I'm funding. I don't think that's
it's
nobody. Yeah,
it didn't make sense to me, but hey, what's it say? Thumbs up or thumbs down is always important. Well, it's a thumbs up event for Satsuma and Ocala, and it's a thumbs up for the fact that Florida's having pulls again, and we're drawing good crowds and getting a lot of participants. And to me, I pulled down there in the 70s when I had a full head of red hair, and that was been a long time ago. Anyway, but it's good to have Florida back down there, and the pulls down there, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Yep. We got down there on Thursday and checked out the track and dropped trailers and stuff off, and then on our way back to Palatka, we seen them sick week cars going through, and we wanted to know where they were going because we thought if they were running Thursday night, we'd chase them down and watch them. So me and Joel hung out in a parking lot waiting for one to go by and chased them to a stoplight to find out where the heck they were going. Well, they were going to Orlando because that was their next pull on Friday. Then people do 5 pulls or 5 races in 5 tracks in 5 days, 900 miles, and there were some sick 6-second cars in that they have to drive from track to track. So we went up to a local ice cream place, and there was about 50 of them sitting in a parking lot. So all Thursday night, we sat and watched all these cars come in and out because the event makes the route for them, and they have 3 checkpoints that they have to stop at to take a picture and then go on. So that was kind of a good event for us to see too. So that sick week was boy.
What Carl Downs wants to know if I consider the consequences of letting Jason Brammer eat the bull alligator. Well, we went to a seafood place on Thursday night, I guess, up there I was talking about, and so we went, and we had gone on an airboat ride, Jason and I. Jason went down there with me, and he camped out with me. And rather than go hog hunting this year, we went for an airboat ride and did a couple other activities. And he said, I got to eat some alligator so I can say I've eaten alligator. So, but he didn't have. Evidently, they were inquiring about the gas. As far as I know, nothing blew up in that part of the camper.
Yep. We as well went to I don't know, I'll give a shout out to Renegades there and had some of their captain's platters, had flounder and shrimp and had some alligator tail and frog legs. I had some frog legs for the first time in a long time.
They're not bad. I used to
they're good.
My uncle used to have a restaurant and lounge, and he always had frog legs on Wednesday night, frog leg special. And I thought, I hate to say it, but it tastes like chicken to me.
That's kind of what I thought as well, Larry. Everything tastes like chicken, right?
Oh, of course it does. Yeah. If it's properly prepared, it's going to taste like anything but what it really is.
Right. Ken's, when did you fly back home?
I flew Sunday at 4:00 was our flight. So I got back at 7:00.
Boy,
in Milwaukee. I didn't get home till almost 11.
Yep, you short timers, us guys that drove all night. We drove the first 6 hours in rain.
Oh, yeah.
From what I heard is we got out of it in time because it got worse behind us. I heard so.
Yeah, we got delayed about 20 minutes.
Had a tornado touchdown in Valdosta right after Jason and I drove through that part of the country.
Yeah. Oh, really? So we got out of there. Jason called me. I don't know. He had just landed in Milwaukee and was heading home. Said just wondering out if we got out of it all right. Did Doug take the motorhome back or something?
Yeah.
He said he was driving back and was hoping he got through it all right. He was fighting some wind, so
yeah.
But everybody's safe. They all tried to kill me on Friday night. It wasn't
bad.
I heard about the activities Friday night. I'm glad that I don't partake in some of that, and especially the aftermath.
Yep. They said there was kind of a Wild Vogue video going on, but I heard it got deleted, so we're all safe there.
Oh, I don't even want to know about that.
They never truly get deleted. They're always somewhere on your phone. You can.
Oh yeah, they'll be out there somewhere. Matt evidently partaked in some good stuff last night, and they said he got kicked out at 10:00, and he was thankful for that.
10:00.
Must be 10:00 Sunday night shut down.
That
so
must be.
But the only look at Brave 6-0 owner. Yep. Figured it cost me 66 cents a mile to drive that thing down there and back, 2,500 miles. So
has it been bulletproof yet, or is it just
it's got 700,000 miles on it. So
decent.
It won't be the last trip. We'll be in, like I said, Liberty with it. But no, wrapping up Satsuma here. And going to go on to the next big adventure starting next week already.
Right. Yeah, 1 week from today, we'll be leaving.
Yep. Ken said, you got to be set up by Tuesday?
Yeah, so we're leaving around noon on Monday.
Megan was asking when I was leaving. I told her I'd probably leave on Wednesday morning. It's about a 7-hour drive for me. And she said, well, that's Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess I can leave Thursday morning. And she kept adamantly saying, nope, you can leave Wednesday. So I don't know if she's got someone else taking her out for Valentine's
She ordered herself flowers. It's okay.
But no, I've got a great wife that loves the sport. She loves to participate in it and knows that I love being with you guys and everything. So I guess I don't know if that's a good thing. I had to put up cameras just to make sure there was no visitors in the house here while I was gone.
So you do trust her?
Yes.
Mine, after 46 years of marriage, mine just says, go, see you.
Yeah, see you.
She did text me on Friday morning and said, happy birthday. And I texted her back, thank you. And then later in the day, I thought, and she did call. She did call. And so
I heard you might have had quite a few birthday wishes on Friday.
oh my, yeah.
Just through the grapevine. I'm not sure how that happened, but
I think it was the fact my phone number was scrolling across the bottom of the floor or bottom of the screen to watch, to wish Larry Witchmine a birthday greeting.
Birthday.
And
I would never know who would have put that phone number on there.
Yeah, I do. And what a turd he is. Yeah. He got me a lot of phone calls and a lot of text messages, and you can do mass deletes if you don't know the numbers. But luckily, most of the phone numbers come up as unknown user or possible spam, and it took care of itself.
Yep. But no, happy birthday. Glad you got to spend it down there with us.
Yeah.
Appreciated you and Matt in the booth there, and always had some good laughs, even though some of the people in the stands didn't know what the hell you were talking about, but always had a good.
The secret is a lot of time I don't know what the hell I'm talking about either.
There you go. Okay. That always works. So all right.
Yeah.
Can you figure this guy out, Chuck? He seems to know you.
Just says Facebook user on my end. So
yeah, mine too, but
it could be well, it's Austin Thurby come up. I'm not sure.
I don't know if you knew or not.
Yep. Maybe
this person is excited for Liberty as well.
Yep. So happy belated there, you're still getting them, Larry. Happy belated birthday. But
and Dean, they were down there with the tractor,
okay.
so
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't climb up the bleachers to say, but yeah, no, they were down there.
But
run very strong. Yeah.
For Larry, Liberty, Kentucky is kind of a brush pull. It's an indoor pull that Adam Montgomery puts on down there. It's got some garden tractors, some 4-cylinder mini rods, all the way up to the V8s that we ran this weekend. Gonna do normally a Saturday only show. I think Mackenzie went down with Megan and I last year to it. We did some videoing and stuff.
Indeed.
He's opened it up to kind of a late Friday afternoon. Going to have 3 or 4 classes and then a full bunch of classes on Saturday.
Cool.
Adam does a good job with it. Got some guys from up here in Wisconsin out of the Tri-County Club with the mini rods. They're going to run down and do some testing and tuning. We did that, luckily did that. We had 1 hook there and shipped, didn't make the finals, but had a couple hooks to do some testing and tuning. I put a few adjustments on Joel there in Buford, and was kind of took a rough ride there on right next to the white line on the left side, and found out what's going to work and what adjustments I made did what they were supposed to do,
That's
not just quite like we wanted to do them. So that was good to see running in the red and running red hot. Nick and Tom down there with us. Unfortunate. I don't know if you guys heard that. His name slipped my mind all. But come down in the motorhome, and roads were so rough. We went through 4 tires on the motorhome coming down.
Really? Who did that?
Was it Holicky?
No, it wasn't Holicky.
It was
They were ISP guys that didn't bring any tractor or anything. They were just coming down to watch. And
it's Matt's buddies. I don't remember the name.
Yes, he runs the Suburban 4-wheel drive.
I can't remember.
I know on Friday there was a tire service truck there.
Neil Rogers.
And he was working his butt off.
Yeah, the Rogers family. Norm Rogers and them can't come down was their name. They run a bunch of ISP with Matt and that. But no, so that about wraps up our Satsuma part. Appreciate everybody that came down. Enjoyed it. The Kelsey family. Asked Mark about his tractor. He had that backfire there in his I think that's a light limited super stock that he runs there on Elke and
light super.
It is. I think it was a high pressure hose, wasn't it?
Yep, he thinks so. But on that side, he had that buddy of his, Jeremy Nelson, come down. He also runs called the Thunderstruck. So it was great to see all them guys from the ISP side that get down.
They put Jeremy to work. He was running down the track trying to flag him from behind there a couple times.
Backwards there a few times. He's like, man, I don't know if I'm young enough for this anymore. And
well, he came up to the tower and talked to Matt, and he goes, wow, I came to help and I got put to work. He goes, I told him I had to take a break. I can't breathe.
He's not a smoker. Nope.
No.
I think the near passes did pretty good with their sleds.
Oh yeah,
I think, if correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they sold them.
they did. And
And
Jeff Story in Michigan, he's already had a sled, but he was there.
okay.
He was down there. He was on property,
Yep.
and but yeah, Jeff Story bought him both the near passes sleds, and of course the other sled that was back up at Ocala, they used on the second track. That was Mark Bingham on the Mark
Right.
sled rental.
On the Mark sled, that's right.
Out of Greensburg, Indiana, or Greensville, Ohio.
Yeah.
My brain was off again. Imagine that.
Let some of them run. Some of them classes run pretty good. They were out 360, 370.
Yep.
I know. I talked to Jeff here. I'm backing up again. I talked to Jeff after Friday night because they were running, 289. A little bit shorter, and he actually was one of them in that said, "Hey, let's lighten this up a little bit," and so we weren't running them out so far. So that's if anybody questioned, that was in the mini rods, the Grand National mini rods, the region mini rods asked to be shut down in that 289 to 300 foot mark. So and they got it done.
Oh yeah.
So
and Mark built a hell of a good track. That way you could do pretty much anything you wanted to do with it.
Yep.
Just depending on sled setting.
Yep.
So Kenzie, you put up a picture of Broadbent with all the smokers lined up. Yeah, that's that'll soon be here.
Yeah. Where we know it.
I'm very excited that Jason come up to me. It's been a month or so ago and asked if I was available for that weekend, that they wanted to do some new things. And I said, yeah, it'd be my first trip to the farm show. I'm excited about it. Yep.
My goodness.
Yeah, very first time. So Kenzie and I are gonna, I don't know, fumble our way through hopefully a little better than I did in Shipshewana after slipping on the ice and banging my head and flopping around like a fish out of water down there. So
well, it'll be Louisville, so the weather could be anything from 50 degrees and sunshine to sleet, ice, and snow. I've been going there well over 20 years, working in Broadbent, doing field tests and stuff, and this year I'll be working in Broadbent again. I'm not sure what my duties will be, but lately I've been reviewing, as well as the tractor pull committee's been reviewing the turbocharger exhaust.
Oh, that's right.
The cage that's got to be out next to the turbocharger wheel, exhaust wheel, and then bolts after it. And then they've got a couple other containment devices that are new, actually exclusive for the farm show. So I've been helping with that with my new job with PPL, and really happy to be a part of it. I'll be there starting on Tuesday as well, but I'll be in Broadbent while you guys are setting up cables and TV cameras and all that stuff.
Larry, I don't know what I'm doing, so you've got more direction than I do.
You'll be following me around.
That's right. You're gonna have about a 3-foot leash, and I'm gonna be dragging behind Kenzie all weekend. So
well,
I'll just drag you along.
It's a very, very busy and fun weekend, and I haven't been home on Valentine's Day in well over 25 years, so that's okay.
And being a farmhand, I guess, full-time farmer, I'm actually looking forward to actually walking through as much as the farm show as I can as well, in our spare time if we have any.
Well, it's quite a show to see. If you've never been, you'll enjoy it. And anything you can think of in the farming world is available, and I'm pretty much on display right there.
Not that I have that big a checkbook, but maybe I'll pick up a sticker or two.
There you go. Get a free bag and put literature in it. Walk around.
Make me look like I'm somebody, huh?
Well,
but I can't remember where I was at and listening to, and it could have been at this weekend that somebody was saying, and I don't remember what class it was, but the top 5 of last year, and I wish I remember what class, it ain't even there this year. So any surprises for you, Larry, being there that many years that aren't there? You kind of foresee the future.
Not really. I know at Louisville, the National Farm Machinery Show, the most popular class, hands down, is big pro stocks.
Yep.
And I mean, they run every session and different bunch and then finals. And by all means, it is the class that everybody wants to watch. It's a captive audience because they got all these guys that went to the farm show all day and walked around, and they all buy a ticket for the tractor pull that night. That's why it's not only popular, but they get to sit down and drink a few adult beverages and watch pulling. But I mean, all the classes are popular there, but Pro Stocks by all means is
Yep.
the premier class. And they, the modifieds, when they run, there's so much methanol in the air. Everybody says, well, that's when everybody goes to get ice cream or hot dogs in the mezzanine. Well, part of them do, and the rest of them try to get some fresh air because it's hard to breathe.
You need to breathe.
This year, they've got a good lineup of mods coming. And, of course, you always have the Bill Lasters and the Wayne Sullivans and stuff like that. But, well, in the case of Bill Voorhees, he's got a tractor again. He had retired, and he has since come back, and he's been accepted, got a brand new 3-engine mod, and he'll be there. And I know he's got a lot of following there. So there's just a lot of anybody, the who's who of wintertime pulling and summertime pulling show up and rise to the top at the National Farm Machinery Show. No question.
Yep. Is that your particular favorite class there to watch as well, Larry, or do you just kind of?
Well, I came from the
watch because you're in Broadbent so much with the Tekken and all that.
Well,
so.
I usually go over to Freedom Hall and listen to the national anthem and watch the first couple of vehicles, and then I migrate back to Broadbent because after they run each class, the top 3 must weigh back, and I pull a fuel sample on them, top 3, all divisions, including methanol classes, and then I check the top 3 fuel after they've run to verify that they're legal. I don't get to watch other than there's a monitor over there I can watch, but honestly, in my lifetime, I've seen so much pulling and been pulling so many times. Yep. I don't care who wins. They're all worthy of being there. And I get to tell when they come across the top 3, congratulations. But as far as having to watch it or to enjoy it, I don't have to be. I'm still a part of it, and I enjoy that part of it.
A quick tech inspector question for you on the methanol. Do you look just for specific gravity, or what do you actually? Because you can't do a water test on them if they're running an upper cylinder lube, because that'll fail a water test, as I know.
You can't.
So
right.
it's
we primarily use specific gravity. We primarily use specific gravity, and if there's any question, there's a couple other tests I've got. But
sure.
The methanol classes aren't really the ones you got to worry about. The diesel classes used to be when the diesel standard, the number we were looking for, is lower than it is today. There was a lot of iffy stuff, and we always, during the day, if somebody wants to bring a sample of their fuel to me, I'll check it to see where they're at, because not everybody's got a fuel.
Sure.
So consequently, they come in and see where they're at, and then they can adjust, whatever they need. But with the new higher fuel numbers they use, there's hardly anybody, unless they really are doctoring it and don't know what they're putting in it, that will actually be in violation of diesel fuel. The hardest thing to keep legal is the water.
Okay,
if they use anything besides distilled water, and used to be the Napa cutting oil for machining, there was 2 kinds, and Napa sold the one that was legal. The other was not, and Napa quit carrying that. So a lot of them are struggling to find a new oil, a new lubricant to put in their water. But there's a couple of them out there, and if they do the research and talk to each other, they found it out. But now in the case of the super farm class, they have to actually buy the fuel and the water from the farm show that they're going to run.
Gotcha. That's kind of the way Kent does it, or Clint does it there at Shipshawana as well.
Yeah, same thing, same exact thing.
Gotcha.
And Outlaws do that all the time. But now, like the big Pro Stocks, and I believe the light pros don't have to buy it. Either way, it's we check it, and we're pretty particular on that. And I know I've caught a couple of violators in the past, and I won't mention names, but a couple of them weren't surprising. But either way, they try stuff, and that's my job to catch them. And this time I'll be helping with a bunch of other stuff as well.
Well, Robert Miner asked, so what happens if they do have the wrong fuel or the cheap fuel?
Well, they're actually disqualified, of course, for that night and the whole event. If it's one of the earlier nights, they're disqualified and thrown out, no money, whatever. At an NTPA show or PPL show, they have violations and penalties for upcoming events. But at the farm show, they'll be DQ'd for this year's farm show and probably won't be accepted or invited back in the future.
Yep, that's
definitely
understandable. I've heard different violations, or it's a year and a day, in other organizations. So, lose all your points and stuff like that. So,
oh yeah, and some like a cubic inch violation, NTPA is 5 years and 10 days. I mean, there's some strict penalties. Yeah. Oh yeah. You got it.
Is there going to be a big tire issue again this year with, I don't know, is it Pro Stock or whatever them? Do you think?
Well, the Mitos tires, there was some last year that were a little big. The biggest problem is if they put it on a narrow rim compared to what they normally run. Of course, it squishes the tire together and consequently makes it taller. And it's not going to be an issue like it was. They're still going to start measuring tires, I believe, on Tuesday afternoon. But if they're older tires that have been last year's circuit or whatever, I know NTPA, Marvin Epperson actually had a branding iron. He was branding them that they had been cleared.
Gotcha.
But
is there a width? Is there a width on them too?
There's a width, circumference, and a width, and everything. Oh yeah,
yep.
And an amount of air pressure in it when they measure it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's got a good set of rules. It's specific, and I know that Chad Mayhill talked to John Mears today about some stuff coming up, and he had a couple guys that of course they all want to run the ragged edge, but Chad said none of the tires that were leaving his shop that he knew of was big. So either way, they will be checked, and there's a lot of things go on back in Broadbent Arena that you really wouldn't think about when you're sitting in the seat watching the show.
Exactly. That's and that's what I tell a lot of the pullers, not just mini rod guys, but them people up in the seats. There's about 80% of them that have no clue what's going on. The 10% that's up there are friends and family of the people that pull, or whatever. But it's the same way with rules. None of them guys up there know that I'm running 370 cubic inch against that guy's 410 cubic inch or 415 or whatever. So, it's the pullers. I know there was some controversy. I don't know if I want to call it controversy about the Nichols tires on them 2-wheel drives. Is that another big issue again this year? Or
I don't think it will be, because they were proven to be within spec. And I mean, everybody, they didn't like them because they were new. And the Nichols tires worked really well at Louisville for being brand new last year. And but they this summer, a lot of them had them, of course, the ones that could get them, because they were limited production at first, but now they're under production. But yeah, it's they were measured just like everything else, so they were within spec. But the new tire design, new compound, I mean, everybody, what's it going to do? Well, it did really well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, top 3, I think, won last year, wasn't all on Nichols tires.
And I told Nichols, I told Russ, I said, I like the fact that we got another tire out there, but God, you screwed up. And he goes, what? What do you mean? I said, when you win the top 3, they instantly hate you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I said, you did too damn good, but what do you do? On a short track, it's a much shorter track, and it makes a difference. All the variables are different, and the sled's set different, and consequently, it's a whole different setup. It's more of a whole shot track than it is a long pull track. Okay. So there's a lot of variables nobody would consider, not only tires, but engine gearing setups. I mean, there's a lot of things involved.
Yeah. See there, Ken's? I can talk alcohol and 2-wheel drives and track people's names, and then you can write it down and show me all about all these diesel guys.
The diesel guys.
I have no clue what a 41363021.7 or whatever the hell they're running.
Well, the 4.1 and 3.0 and stuff like that is referring to the inlet size on the turbocharger.
Right. Well, I knew that, but to look at one, physically look at one, no clue. And even as a part-time announcer for ISP, filling in for Matt once in a while or whatever, Badger State a couple of times, filling in for Stacy Butson. I get into them, and even some of the trucks, I'm like, you
go from a 3.0 charger for a super farm or a diesel pickup to a 4.1 for a limited pro, and then you get to the big pros, and their limit on the inlet is 6.5 inches. So, but there's only one of them, and the turbo, most of them are running Weimer or Hart turbo, one of those two, and the turbo will weigh like 125 pounds. I mean, it used to be you take the turbo out of the box and set it on the manifold. Now you got to have a crane or a chain hoist to set it on top of the engine. And
Right.
it's so dang heavy that most of them, besides the mounting on the exhaust manifold, have a strut out here to hold it up.
Oh,
It's that.
geez.
It's huge.
Craziness.
But the engine's 680 cubic inches, and the turbo, of course, I say it's limited to 6.5 inch. It's huge,
Yep.
and putting out a lot of air, and so
This one's
that's.
And then
Somebody
this
asked,
one's a 466 and can run 3 turbos, but this is this and can only run 1. I'm like, oh man. But it's time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get used to them all, and Mackenzie will help me out like she's done, and has introduced me to some nice people, and
well,
got to see a few at Shipshewana that's going to be at the that we're testing for the farm machinery show. So that's
right.
very.
Somebody asked a question a minute ago. What's the differences in the fuels for the different pulling leagues? Right now, NTPA, Pro Pulling League, and the Outlaws are all running the same diesel fuel spec exactly. So if it's legal for running in one group, you'll be fine as long as you don't fool with it to run the other group. So that question was asked there at the bottom of the screen. But right now, everybody's running the same fuel spec.
Any questions for us? What happened in Satsuma, or what's coming up next week in the Farm Machinery Show? We got Mackenzie back in Wisconsin at the studio. We got Larry Witchrein over in Indiana, and me, I'm Chuck Hobbs. They reached down at the bottom of the barrel because Matt and Jason couldn't be with us. Mike, the teacher, must be teaching late tonight. We're just kind of finishing up our Satsuma weekend, and then looking forward to next week as we head out to Louisville, or that's my saying of it.
Well, it depends on where you're from, whether it's Louisville or Louisville.
Right.
Just like from Shelbyville, Tennessee to Shelbyville, Tennessee. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Same
I
thing.
got you.
Same but different. But yeah, I personally, being Hoosier, which is a Greek word meaning redneck, say Louisville. But when I'm down there, I'm in Louisville. So, I speak whatever accent I'm in that community. So
there you go.
I got a guy comes in my shop and has many years, and of course I answer all the questions, tech questions on the phone, and I have for 30 years for NTPA before this one. And he'd come in and sit down, and he said, I can tell what part of the country you're talking from by what accent you adopt. And I didn't really notice it, but I mean, I'd be talking to Tennessee, and all of a sudden, well, it's 159.9 is what that's what the laser guy said the other night, but he's from Tennessee. But Larry, how many years been involved in pulling? Wow, good question. I started pulling in 1974 as a junior in high school. I put 2 small blocks together, crank to crank, and a Massey 44. I was going to tear the modified world up. But I pulled mod tractors and then 2-wheel drives. And then I bought old Sparky Merrill Smith's Grand National Pony Champion Alice 180. And I bought that. And then I took the job as head of tech and safety in 1993. And here I sit. So all I've done for almost 50 years, come next year, or this year, I guess, is truck and tractor pulling. I don't know any better. Somebody said that's the year I was born. Yeah, I probably got socks as old as you, Robert Miner. Anyway, but no, I don't know anything else. And I took what I considered a half-ass hobby and turned it into a full-time job. Tractor pulling has been very good to me. I've met people worldwide. It's taken me to Rotterdam in the Netherlands twice to teach tech schools over there. They wanted my version of tech school. Imagine that. But tractor pulling has been very good to me and my family. And I can't think of a better sport to be involved in.
I probably could be 100% right in saying Mackenzie didn't see 1974 either.
No, that was a little bit before my time.
What, 20 years?
23.
Not that you were doing the math, huh?
No, well, whatever 99 from 74 is.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
But, I do have to give kudos to Mackenzie. We've been rubbing shoulders and elbows for the last 3 years now. To have a young lady like Mackenzie that's this involved in truck and tractor pulling, and the people she knows that have everybody has the utmost respect for Mackenzie, and It's great to go to the events with her and can joke around with her. And
Yeah. Hey, Larry even picked me up in Satsuma.
I picked her up. Well, Jason said, "Will you go get Mackenzie?" And I went, "Who?" He goes, "Mackenzie." I said, "Okay." So I was driving around the pits hollering, "Mackenzie, Mackenzie, where are you, Mackenzie?" And she was over bothering, talking to the bargies,
Yes.
the turbine tractors. So I picked her up. I said, "Get out of the car, Mackenzie." And I took her over and delivered her. And then when Jason got done with her, boy, that didn't sound right. Anyway, I took her back over. Dropped her off at Bargie's. I have no idea what she was doing and no ideas what she did.
Well, Jason or the Bargies?
Either one.
Camera work.
Whatever. But no, Jason said, "We go get Mackenzie?" Oh, yeah. Oh, my. There's Robert Miner. He's got a lot of questions.
He's playing,
He's surely not talking to me.
Well, I never pulled anything, so.
We're going to get Mackenzie in a mini rod one of these days this year. Get to an event and she can get into Megan's Limited or pull Buford. I don't care. And we've been asked, I don't know if you seen it, you see the name Buford on a mini rod. My partner, Joel, which drove on Saturday, he had a neighbor retired from the mill. That was the guy that if the garage door was open, he's always going to wander over and sit in the chair, and you're going to hear the same story that you heard the last time you were there. Well, Buford was a great guy. When we started building the Economod, he was over and giving his 2 cents and all. Well, he passed away before we got it done. So in his honor, that's where we come up with Buford L. On the
video. Matt told me the story. I think he even said it on the PA.
Oh, did he? Cool.
Yeah, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did when you were up there. Yeah.
Yep. So that's, Matt's seen it a few times, and we've actually got his dates on there and the whole 9 yards. So we've had his daughters and his granddaughters at a couple events, come over and just a tribute to him. The old guy was a very neat guy. So, Joel asked, and, it really doesn't matter to me.
It seems like every farm shop or welding shop's got some old guy that staggers in every day and sits in the chair and don't really want anything, but he's there.
No.
And I know I've had a couple of them come in my shop, and so what's up today? Oh, nothing. Just thought I'd stop by. That's what they do. So,
yeah. And then they told you about welding in 25 years ago.
Same story. And when I was pulling, he'd say, "I don't know how you make that crap work. I don't know how," because I had jet engines for a while in the mod. And he goes, "I don't have no idea how that works." And I said, "Well, if it's any consolation, you don't really need to." And I said, "Well, that's okay."
Yep. And not to go back to Satsuma, but we seen the old boy that also pulls in Ocala with the jet engine. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Don Dean.
Yeah, there you go. But
Don Dean and his German Shepherd Abby.
Yep.
And Abby was born and raised right here. And she came in this office and used to chew on my sleeve. You know how a kid will say, "Come look, come look." Well, she did that. And Don Dean doesn't have a single T-shirt that don't have holes in it because she still does that, and she's 8 years old.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, here in this office, there's a German Shepherd laying over there in the chair right now. Her name is Maze, and she's blacker than the ace of spades. And she's was born in Germany, and she's one of our top producers. There's 11 German Shepherds on the property, adults.
Wow.
And
I don't know if you heard the story, but I was up by the concession stand on Saturday, and I says, "Don, who are you looking for?" He's like, "Oh, I'm looking for Mark." I said, "Well, what do you need?" He's like, "We need to do something with the ramps on that scale." I said, "What's the matter?" He's like, "Oh, we need to prop them up a little bit." He said, "I lost 12 zip ties when I went off of it yesterday."
Yeah, everything on his tractor is either duct taped or zip tied. And it's not only a plumber's nightmare in name, but you just walk by it and you think, "Oh my God, how's this run?" But no, it's he's on that fine line between insanity and genius. He turned 81 years old while we were in Ocala.
No kidding.
And,
I mean,
yep.
I had met him. I had met him in Zellwood last year when Jason and I were down there. But yeah, I mean, a mind of an engineer, big time. He showed me how he's got a plastic bottle that's got rags in the top of it. That when the oil leaks out of it, it goes through them rags. And how many days it does? He said that's clean oil by the time he gets out there. I can reuse it.
Yeah, he does. Well, See, turbine oil never goes bad. It don't have any contamination. There's not like pistons and crankshaft spinning. Turbine oil. When I first bought my turbine tractor, I was friends with Art Arfons, and I called him, and I'd had 2 Rodaks prior to that. And I called him. I said, Art, how often should I change the oil in this turbine? And he goes, why would you want to change it? And I said, well, I'm used to dumping 22 quarts out of 2 motors every 3 or 4 runs. He goes, well, let me think. And then he goes, how about every 10 or 12 years? And I went, what? And I said, what? I mean, at that time, we're talking early 80s. Turbine oil was like $10 a quart when everybody else's oil was like $2 a quart. And it's all synthetic, smells like rotten eggs. You spill it on your tennis shoes. Your tennis shoes are rest of their life. And excuse me. Anyway, Art said you never need to change it, Larry. You might lose a little if it drips, but just add some. And that Don Dean, God love him, bless his heart, he catches it. It goes in the bottle. He's right under the drip. And he recycles it. He puts it back in the tank.
That's genius. That's genius.
But of course, Art told me there's a screen on there. Don't really have a filter. It's got a screen. You take that screen apart and clean it once a year with carb cleaner. You'll be fine, Larry. And he was.
You'll be fine.
Again, way off the subject. You're here Monday night, February 5th with Mackenzie back at the studio. Larry Richrine out in Indiana. Chuck Hobbs right here in the big city of Harmon, Illinois with our Kawasaki Parts Warehouse. Highlands Performance Full Pull Outlaw Beer Money.
LDS.
Where's the other one? You didn't get
right under Kawasaki. LDS, the big red X.
Oh yeah, LDS. Yep, LDS is with us too. So Monday night we're just closed up and keep going back to Satsuma. Beautiful picture of Broadbent Arena there as we're all heading out sometime next week to Louisville. To the National Farm Machinery Show, where we start pulling Wednesday night, right? Larry, is that correct? Pull Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night.
We pull 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th of February. And it's a big show. It's the largest indoor show in the world and most participated, most prestigious. People apply all the time to get there. Only a few get accepted. But
and that's what I was going to say. It's kind of an invitation only, but you also have to send in an application to them. They go through them, and that's how they get their fields to pull. Unlike
everybody says, well, who chooses? How do you qualify? Do they take the point champions from the Outlaws and from Pro Pulling League, or where do they take? They do attend a bunch of events in the summertime with all the different varieties of organizations. And they get an idea, and then from the applicants, there's actually a committee that reviews what they've done the past summer and what they're doing. It's not who they are, like everybody thinks it is, and that's how they get accepted.
Either way, hundreds of very fine-looking machines that come to do the same thing they do every time they attend a pull, and that's to win, make the finals But I know there's a few that's first timers. I know Jason did very well the first time when the 4-1s were there, and I think that's the only time they were there. I think, or is the 4-1 still there?
Yeah, 4-1s are still there.
They're there, yeah.
4-1 still there. Jason went down when he had his 4-1. Also, Jason's going to be revealing the new wrap on the new name of the High-Tech Redneck. That's coming up.
That's how deaf people applaud, by the way. They do this.
In booth,
it is.
I believe
it is.
What's the booth number, Ken's?
3194.
3194. Stop over.
Wing.
And we will have stuff to give away, calendars, some pretty neat outlaw calendars, and
new merchandise
coming
in.
New
merchandise.
Yeah, hats, t-shirts, hoodies.
Few new.
I know that
part-time employees will be there.
Yes.
And the full pull people will be there, and there'll actually be some wagering online. Yep.
Coltrane energy drink will be there, I believe. As I'm sporting my Coltrane.
I haven't received mine yet. Whenever I receive Coltrane, I will never be on a podcast without a Coltrane energy drink in my hand. I promised that a couple weeks ago, but I have yet to receive. I have yet to receive my Coltrane. I did look on Amazon and it is available for purchase. But you know, the only thing I've got out of beer money is a nice microphone, a good camera, and some special lighting.
Hey, Larry,
and a cold, but whatever. I don't get paid, so I can't afford to buy it. I know.
You know how to get that free Coltrane? Come on with a Monster one time and see what Jason does for you.
Well, I don't care. I don't care for the Monster. I don't care for the Monster drink. Well, yeah, but
you can find an empty can. Find an empty can.
Well, I understand where you're going with that, but I'm not sure I'm that kind of guy. What's this says Facebook? I remember when you were working the former Show Me Showdown back years. Oh my goodness, yes. The Show Me Showdown in Macon, Missouri. Yep. A long time ago, but yep, I've been there. I've done that.
Yeah, I believe there was another pool going on. Tennessee Invitational or something was going on this past weekend.
Yeah, Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro.
There you go. Yeah, Murfreesboro was going on. So, anyways,
Southern National. Yep.
Farm Machinery Show. Like I said, it'll be my first time there. Very honored to be invited by the Beer Money Pulling team to help them out a little bit. I'll go back and bug Larry a little bit he's going to go from announcer, podcaster to tech inspector. He'll have his suit and tie on and his white clothes.
My lab coat has blood on it because it came from a butcher shop. I won't have my lab coat with me. One year I did take my lab coat and was doing fuel samples in a white lab coat with blood on the pockets. And somebody says, "My God, what have you done?" I says, "Well, I was too poor to buy one, so I got one from a buddy of mine that works in a slaughterhouse."
Got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
They never let me wear my lab coat again at Broad Bend Arena. I don't know why.
But Mackenzie's going to be doing all kinds of videos with yours truly. We're going to go get some interviews from not just pullers. We're going to talk to fans. We might even go talk to Larry for a minute. Who knows?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
I was told that there's
what could go wrong?
No rhyme, no reason. Yeah, it's not even 300 foot. What could go wrong?
No.
You know, we seen the Budweiser tractor knock the barrier partially over last year, and I don't know. Who knows what can go? That's what happens when you can live stream it from home and don't worry about it being 20 below or ice or whatever. So,
it's always warm in Freedom Hall, and it's always good times with good people and good friends, and they got great concessions. And I was standing in line one time, two guys behind Forrest Lucas at the ice cream stand. They got great ice cream, and not that I paid attention. Not that I paid attention, but he ordered butter pecan. Anyway, he turned around, and I said, "Good afternoon, good evening, Mr. Lucas. How are you?" He looked at me. He goes, "You're Larry Richwine." I said, "Yeah." He said, "We've tried to hire you a couple times," and I went, "Yes." And he goes, "Well, why haven't you went to work for us?" And I says, "Well, I'm still working at NTPA." And when that ended, I called Pro Pulling League. I mean, Lucas wasn't doing it anymore. They sponsor it now. They don't own it. But, I did go to work for the same place that he was talking about. And I have to admit, I'm very happy there. So we're having new funds and new chapters in, of all things, Larry Richwine's life.
Our Robert Miner's back and wants to know, Larry, did you ever pull in Rock Valley?
Didn't pull there, no. Did not pull there, no.
Hey, we got one. At least we got one viewer on with us. The bottom of the barrel fill in myself. Robert Miner, he's right there. He's supporting all of us. So along with Corsa Data and the Schultz Mortgage Team, Kawasaki Parts Warehouse, and LD Diesel.
There's several of them that watch that are friends of mine on Facebook or whatever, but they're too ashamed that they're friends of Larry Richwine's to actually ask questions.
Well, they can ask a question to me or Mackenzie.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm saying they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, they could. Yeah.
They could, but maybe they're shy.
Ken's, you in the studio all by yourself tonight?
All alone. Yep.
All alone.
Well,
yep. Nobody likes me here. No, I'm kidding.
If you want to mute your mic and run around and scream all you want, we won't care.
Yep.
Tempting that is. I better not.
I know.
I might trip on something. Towards everything.
I know your former partner is going to have a little one coming soon.
Yeah. End of March.
end of March. So another edition. He gets to do a lot of the stay back at the office and do a lot of editing for you and all that kind of. Now he wants to know red or green. Robert wants to know red or green.
Well, I pulled modified and 2-wheel drive, which is neither, and then I pulled the old Sparky, which was an AC 180, so it was orange the last 3 years of my pulling career. But always farm with green. But I have to admit, it's hard to beat a red one unless you're in the big pro stock class, and then it's hard to beat that great big John Deere block.
That is true.
I could answer as well. We pulled green, but we've got a mini rod called the Leprechaun. My wife's birthday is actually on St. Patrick's Day, so our scoring number is 317. Wow. So that is green. Now Buford, he's black. Why we went black? I thought it'd be easier to keep clean, but that wasn't the smartest thing in my book because it shows every speck. No. I thought black and polished aluminum would look really nice. It looks really nice for the very first time you put it together.
Right.
So
right. Larry, do you miss the days when mods had V-shaped fenders? No, I don't. I like them now that they're pretty well full coverage fenders. And when I was pulling, they first required fenders, and I had some expanded metal panels like 2 foot by 4 foot, and I mounted one on each side of my seat, which technically it had to keep my body out of the fender, out of the tires, because my seat set a little bit in front of the tires. And I think that's what he's referring to, but I don't miss those days. No, the full fenders was much better.
Yep. And you were probably pre-roll cage too, weren't you, Larry?
Oh my, I was pre-roll cage. I was pre-helmet. I was pre-fire suit. Oh yes, most certainly. Yeah. I was pre anything that would keep you from dying. And actually, after I got the job, I had to implement and put in force several rules that if I was pulling, I would have raised hell. But I said, no, you got to do it. You got to be safe.
Yeah.
And somebody got in the truck with me one time to go to town after we implemented the roll cage and this 5-point harness, and I didn't hook the seatbelt up. And the guy goes, well, why aren't you going to hook your seatbelt up? He goes, you make us hook our belt up. I said, you're in danger. If this thing crashes, I want to be thrown as far away as I can from the wreck.
There you go. I kind of say that about fire extinguishers in our mini rods. You know, it's got to be in driver's reach. The only thing this guy's reaching for is getting the hell out of there. So,
well, honestly, I've got a good answer for that. The biggest thing that's good about a fire extinguisher on a pulling vehicle is most of the time, if it's used in the shop when something catches fire and the vehicle's in there and you think, oh my God, where's the fire extinguisher? And you say, well, there's one on my tractor. And they go get it and put the fire out. So, yeah.
Yep.
Did I start pulling before Art Arfons? No, actually about the same time. Art was a dear friend of mine, and him and EJ Potter and I palled around when I was a 19-year-old kid in Florida, and they had big trucks or haulers, and Art had the bus, and I had a dually and an open trailer, and I would haul them around. They'd buy the gas in my 454 Chevrolet pickup, and I've been to about every aircraft salvage yard you can imagine in South Georgia and all of Florida. But I very good friends with Art. In fact, Dusty, the night that Art passed, she called me the next morning. I was at the PRI show, and she said, Uncle Larry, everybody called me Uncle Larry. And I said, yes. She goes, Daddy passed last night. And I said, oh my, I said, I'm in Orlando. She goes, oh, I know, but I just want to let you know. And I says, well, what's the arrangements? She goes, we're on the way to the funeral home now. The girl called me before they actually made the arrangements. And I said, well, Dusty, let me know, because I'll make sure everybody gets, on the internet and everything. And I thanked her for calling me, but no, Art Arfons and I were very good, dear friends.
Yeah, we've lost in just the last few years here. We've lost some great pulling names throughout the whole sport, across the whole country. So, we still think of each and every one of them, and a lot of them are pulling in their memory, of course. So,
well, in my mind, I'm still in my late 20s, early 30s in the brain as far, but my body tells me otherwise. And I turned 67 Friday night, and just glad to still be around and still be a part of the sport. And I still got some value and some extra BS to spread.
Yeah. And you know, as being a younger than you person, you see, I see what changes are coming up now, and whether it's and 99.9% is a safety thing, like you said, with the exhaust side of the turbo, and when the guy flipped the engine out at ship, we're putting 3 tethers on instead of just the one and all that. But you look back, 25 years ago, the big jumps that were made, with the roll cages and the helmets and the fire suits and all the scatter blankets now, but we're still doing things with parts that we ain't supposed to be doing with. I know there's now building and stuff like that, but this guy's using the stock blocks and trying to put however many thousands of horsepower through it. Parts are parts, they're gonna fail.
Right.
But to see
in the pros. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
To see a guy like you that's seen them huge changes versus a change like we see with, that one protector on the exhaust side that, everybody's having a heart attack before because now you're taking hundreds of horsepowers away. Well, you know what? They could say, okay, this is what we're doing. We're limiting you guys to all this pounds of boost and this and that and the other, versus a little part.
Well, it's as long as they're all required to have it, it's the same restriction for everybody.
Yes.
And the bottom line is there's only 2 or 3 variations that are acceptable to do this, and they all restrict it pretty much the same. I've seen dyno numbers with and without the restrictor thing on the exhaust turbine, but no, they're all restricted the same. So it's no different NASCAR coming out and saying, hey, we're going to change the restrictor plate in this class, and you all got to run it. Well, with that, you've all got to tune and adjust to that standard.
Yep.
But
exactly.
I mean, you take a John Deere 619 cubic inch block that was 250 horse max, 300 whatever stock, and I've seen dyno numbers where they're putting out well over 5,000 horse with one turbocharger, and now they're approaching 6,000. And if everybody was truly honest, I know there's 2 or 3 of them that's already exceeded 6,000 horse on the dyno. And to make it live, there's got to be something to contain this. And if it does go bang, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. How are we going to keep these parts from hurting somebody? And that's been my focus in my job for 30 years.
Yep. And that, as you know, and I know we're kind of off the subject of farm machinery show and stuff, but it's usually because something unfortunate has happened. The reason why we got the exhaust side is because what had happened at something that wasn't even affiliated with any of our side. It happened at a brush pull, come apart, and people get closer and closer to the track and everything else. And now we have to have implement some kind of rules. Was it something that was not thought of before? It's probably been thought of for years. About what's going to happen if because as well as I know that exhaust pipe isn't very thick,
and that's actually something I asked for. Why don't we set a thickness minimum on the elbow and the exhaust pipe? So if that turbine wheel on exhaust pipe comes out, it's got to saw through X number of inches or like even 1/8 inch thick. But if you put an elbow on there that's nice and shiny like a semi truck, it ain't near as thick as something that's a Schedule 40 or Schedule 80 pipe. And it's I've always said, every rule in the rule book, no matter who it is, no matter what it is, whether it's go-kart racing, drag racing, or pulling, has a name or an incident on that rule. Somebody had something happen or anticipated happening that caused that rule to be written. So,
and safety rules like that are just like tracks. I don't ever complain about a track. Does the track change? Yeah, it does. But you know what? Everybody has to deal with that track, whether it's the first puller or the last puller. It's the same track with a little bit of variation. So for someone to say the track's crap or this is crap or that crap, I look at them. The first thing I say is become a track builder. Then, if you can do better, you see these guys that are doing track, like the Kelsey family. He's a puller. He knows what puller is going to try his best. not to tear up equipment, not to tear up tires. And hopefully, I've listened to the unscripted ones with the mini rod guys, let's keep it at 300 foot or 320. We don't need to be running really 370.
In my brain, the track is still 300 foot long.
Exactly.
With a very maximum of maybe 320.
Right.
But with the advent of the newer, lighter sleds, they're not really lighter, but they're lighter out of the hole on a Von Bauer sled. If you watch, say, a Bowling Green, they'll actually pick the pan up 3 or 4 inches off the ground for the first 80 or 100 feet, no matter what division it is. And that's the way Von sets it. I compare Von Bauer's sled and his setting, even though he's built a bunch of them, but when he runs one, he sets it like a parachute. You go like hell, and then that last 15 to 20 feet, when the sled trips and hits you, it's like a parachute. It's nice to stop you. And but now they've got them out to 350 for NTPA, and it's exciting. It's fast runs, but when Bob Jostock had to build a bigger fuel tank on his mod because he was going 350 instead of 320, I thought to myself, you're having to do something. But they made adjustments. But Dennis Goodwin in Iowa says it's racing instead of pulling.
Yeah, it's an easier adjustment on a sled than having to go build another 1 gallon bigger fuel cell for your tractor.
But the crowd does like it, and it's exciting.
They do. But you want to know what if you started them all at 300 to 320, there would be no difference. Because you're gonna have them couple guys at 280, 290, and then the one that goes out to 320, it's going to be the same thing if it was 370. But that's just me. I'm not a sled driver or a sled builder, so I just watching, listening to people. But
it's like every machine; it's only as good as the operator, and Von Bauer is very good at it. And he likes to snatch them in that last 15 to 20 feet. But,
so as the Farm Machinery Show, as we're supposed to be talking about, Jason's going to look at this and say, well, the guys talked about everything but what they're supposed to talk about. What are you looking forward to the most at the Farm Machinery Show, Mackenzie?
Seeing the people, seeing the tractors, and just having a good time.
And being with me, right?
And being with Chuck.
How about you, Larry? What are you?
And now to see Larry again.
What are you looking forward to for the 2024 National Farm Machinery Show?
Good weather, warm, not have to wear Carhartts and long underwear, and not be threatened with my life over somebody that thought that the violation shouldn't have been noticed when they broke a rule.
That's well said.
Very valid.
That's well said. Me, I'm just looking forward to the very first time at the Farm Machinery Show, taking it all in. I know it's way more than you ever can take in one year down there, but I've got a lot of want to do lists, and we'll just see how well we get them, and just to make Mackenzie some good interviews that she can put together, and for Jason. And like I said, I really thank Jason for inviting me along. We've done a few things together, and I appreciate him and Mackenzie and Hope and Doug and Chandler. Appreciate.
I don't want to burst your bubble, but Jason said he likes having me around too. So what's that?
Well, that's not bursting mine, because when he told me it was just going to be me and Mackenzie, I don't know, Friday, I think he told me that you were going to be on. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Larry can talk.
Larry talks old time and safety. What Larry knows about new time pulling, it's like, okay. But no, like I say, I do pride myself on trying to be up on things, and my main objective with tractor pulling is keep everybody safe. And anything else I get to do is a bonus, and I really enjoy it.
Yep. Throughout the years, Larry, at the National Farm Machine, who is your, and I know you don't get to watch them a lot, but when you heard that this particular person won a class, you're like, holy cow, first time you've ever been down, he won a class, or he'd been down several years and never won, just maybe made the finals. Anybody in your mind stick out?
Oh, yeah. Several in different divisions. But remember, I have an advantage because I work with these people all summer.
Right.
And I don't have any favorites. I've got a lot of friends, but no favorites. And any of them that are my friends will tell you, Larry doesn't, no favors. But in the case of Wayne Sullivan in the mod class, I first met him at my very first event I ever went to, and he was gracious and a gentleman to me. And I was just some 17-year-old snot-nosed kid, and he treated me like I was Bruce Hutchison or Don Harness. Like I was one of them. And so whenever Wayne does good, which is almost all the time, I'm always pleased. Bill Lashner as well, and a great friend and an excellent man that just passed here last year or so, Don Masterson.
Oh yes,
absolutely. When he always excelled,
and
Kevin's keeping it going. But Don Master, the whole Masterson, both of them family at Louisville, it's hard to beat them. I mean, you just say Masterson and you think Farm Machinery show victories. I mean, they're always tough, but I know that last year that Don was there in a wheelchair, and I went over after they got back from the Freedom Hall, and I was checking their fuel and weighing them in. He rolled up there, and I said, Don, I says, we've been around a long time. And he goes, yes, we have, Larry. And I said, I want you to know that I'm really proud of your tractor and Kevin and all of them. And he goes, I know. He said, we've been good friends a long time. He says, I sure miss driving it. And it wasn't long after that he passed, but there was a line of people's behind me wanting to talk to him. And I said, I'll leave you alone. I won't bother you. He goes, no, Larry, you can talk as long as you want. But no, friends like that are lifetime friends. And I was very fortunate to know them people, just the same as Arfons and the rest of them. But the young bucks, we don't have that many of them coming up in the sport, but the ones that are fast and furious and tough and hard to beat. And I consider them friends too. My biggest pleasure is watching the kids grow up in the sport and start pulling where their dad and granddad did.
Right. That was going to be my next question. Seeing a big realm of pullers, and like you said, you can't have favorites, but in the back of your mind, have you ever said this guy's going to win Louisville one day?
Oh yeah. No question. There's some heavy hitters that have got the equipment maybe, but not driving it to the full potential, which is not the case anymore in the pro stock class. But I mean, there's other classes, and like I say, I see them all, and some of them are second and third generation pullers that I worked with or pulled against or whatever, and it does an old fart good to watch them do good and excel.
I've just recently, here in the last year or so, started watching, with the Outlaws, and they've got that Young Guns that they actually run their own little series in, and I think that's really and what's nice to see about them and being in Poland is that they're still on the tractor side of it, whether, because the four-wheel drive trucks is by far the thing that all the kids, that's their realm nowadays. A truck is a truck, but you see the younger generations always levitating towards that four-wheel drive truck or whatever. But no, that Young Guns thing I think is really neat that the Outlaws do. And
yes, it is.
Like I said, trying to keep up with everything and still run, too many rods and stuff like that. But no, I mean, I'm always going to be a mini rod guy to heart, whether it's, the Slaws or the Costers or whatever, they're, levels above what I do. But, just like you said, I'm at a lower level, but to go see Jeff Hurd or Kevin Hill or one of them guys, they know I'm a mini rod. They know where at, and it isn't even them, any of them will come up just like, just because you don't travel with them at the PPL or Grand National stage, they still see your puller.
Well, and the Jeff Hurts and the Jordan Lustics and the Jesse Petros and stuff grew up with my kids in the pit area, and I got to see them, go pulling and stuff. And so I have a special spot for that generation. But Jeff Hurt's a tough competitor, run too many rods and 2 alcohol supers. Yeah.
Yes. Just and 100 mile an hour. I don't know what he takes to calm down to go to sleep at night, or he just dies of exhaustion. He's great when that whatever let go in the ignition there. He come out of that mini rod. He come over and was talking to Horse Dad, which is another beautiful mini rod that campaigned for the first time there in Ocala. You got to see Just Ask, which is a beautiful mini rod. And he was just going 100 mile an hour, and I don't even know what he was talking about, but you could just hear him. That rough, grubbly voice he's got, from talking so damn much. But, he just my partner Joel was there, and he's like, man, who is that? I go, that's Jeff Hurt right there. You'll never forget him,
I used to think he was a wild man, And I thought, what the hell's wrong with him? And then I got to see, I met his dad, of course, years before, but I got to see his dad in a meeting, and something wasn't going right. And he jumped up, and all I can tell you is Bill, his father, Jeff is don't fall too far from the tree. You know what I'm saying? His dad could get just as excited and loud and wild. And so I've seldom, a few times I've told Jeff, hey, it's not just you. You get it honest, but yeah.
I do have to say, you hear that comment of the year, when somebody's asked a question, and it's usually a dumb reporter like us that asked that dumb question. But up in Macville last year, and he blew the hood off of that tractor, and the commentator says, "What happened, Jeff?" He just looked at him and said, "It blew up." That was just matter of fact. Well, that's it. It blew up.
Nobody can get out of a harness and off a tractor faster than Jeff Hurt. One time in Arcola years ago, before he had minis, just had the supers, and he had a heck of an explosion, similar to what he had at Macville. And they interviewed him and asked him, what happened? He goes, "Oh, it just got a little hot." And so that was it. I mean, but that's Jeff Hurt. So yeah, I've often reminded him. I said, "What happened?" He goes, and I said, "No, wait a minute, I'll answer for you. It just got a little hot."
Yeah. And then when they bring him on the show, and they throw a question at Doug did it last week. It was very comical. So
he's a good kid. He's a good kid.
So what else do we want to say about the Farm Machinery Show? Anything, guys? Been on here almost an hour and a half now, just jibber jabbering. I'm a little nervous when I first come on. I never got to do this with you guys, so I appreciate you having me on.
I'm always nervous, as you can tell.
Yeah. I'm going to do as many.
I don't think I've been nervous in a long time.
I'm going to do as many as I can, so I get one of them fancy microphones. Jason told me I had.
This was Jason. Give me this and sent it to me for Christmas with a whole host of paraphernalia, and I didn't put the windscreen on because it's not windy in here. Anyway, but it's he'll send you equipment, and then he'll shame you into coming on because he said, "Well, I sent you equipment. Did you like it? I'm sorry. Is it not good? Do you not like it?" And and then he does that pity thing, and and
to have Matt Hart as an addition, I love Matt to death. He's a great friend. Get to be in the booth with him several times a year, and then to have you two together this weekend, he was looking forward to it, and he's like, "Heck yeah!" I think Matt told me he had like 380 some events to do this year between his car auctions and his benefits and his truck and tractor pulling. Yeah. Oh, that's Ron Zisler. He's a photographer up in the Illinois way. Illinois. Does some great photography. One of the few guys that'll do pictures and you can use them, and he doesn't put any watermarks on them, but he needs to start because he does a great job doing it all.
Well, I had a heck of a cold both Friday and Saturday, and I still got it. And I told Matt, I said, "I'm not going to be worth much." And then it came sporadically, a good voice for a little bit. And Matt says, "Well, I enjoy working with you." I says, "Well, find me on a good day. We'll see what happens." But we had fun. That's what we're supposed to have. I don't announce. I talk to people, and I try to explain what's going on. I try to explain how the sled works. I try to explain what and why it's going on the track. And I think people enjoy that. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't. Yeah, and I guess he went over to the live stream for a little bit there, real late on Saturday, and he's like, talked to him Saturday night. He's like, "I really like that." I'm like, "Oh boy, where are you going to fit that into your schedule, Matt?"
Yeah. Well, they had Billy Beers on all of Friday night and part of Saturday, and I got a text message from Tom LaRue in Canada, and he goes, "Is Billy Beers drunk?" And I said, "I don't know. He's in the room next to me." So I opened the door and I said, "Billy, are you drunk?" And he went, "No, I." And so I commented back to Tom LaRue. I don't know if he's drunk, but he sure acts it. But it's one of those deals.
Billy's got a 5-engine mod. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
War wagon.
War wagon. That's right. I'd never personally met Billy's, but being up there, running your phone number over the screen and stuff like that was,
he's a wild man. He's a wild man.
I kind of met him, but
it sucks to have friends, and we proved that with them running my phone number across the bottom of the screen Friday night.
And it costs too much to get it changed, so it is what it is.
Well, I told Jason, I said, if I have to change this number, it won't be expensive for you, but it will be expensive for you to tell everybody that normally calls me in a business type that I have a new number. But I'm not going to change it. Luckily, my screening program for spam mail or spam phone calls took care of 90% of them. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
No, I just shrugged my shoulders and I did what the boss told me to do. So
Smile and nod.
You know, I used to do that, and then I got to this point, and I'll do my best.
Yep. But so let's wrap up tonight, I guess.
Yes.
Talked about Mark Kelsey and the Kelsey family down in Satsuma with Just Add Dirt Motorsports. Look him up on Facebook. Give him a like. He runs a Light Super, I believe, is what his is. Larry, correct me if I'm wrong.
Light Limited, I believe.
Light Limited. There you go. And then he's got his Hot Farm or whatever he runs. Also, 2 tractors, anyways. Up here, pulls with the ISP and goes all over with that.
It's on a couple of events up here too, doesn't he?
Yep. I asked him about the Byron event. He's not doing that this year. Conflict with the landowner or whatever, but
well, he built a hell of a track down there, and I hope it goes ahead and continues to happen. And whether it's NTPA or not, but I want to be a part of it if I can be. And I'm pretty sure the NTPA established themselves down there too, and they had a good show, both sanctioned and non-sanctioned.
Yep, and I was glad. Sometimes you get a sanctioning body that don't want to really work with a non-sanctioned. I think they did very well, even with the changeover both nights. The unsanctioned ran first, and then the sanctioned, and then they switched it. The switchover was about flawless. I know they did.
And that's all about insurance. I have an explanation.
Well, I understand. Yep, I understand all that too. Yep.
When NTPA signage is out there and their classes are out there, it's under their carrier. And if anything were to happen, of course, they're going to sue everybody. But exactly. The insurance difference is what causes the classes to be ran separately.
Yep. And I also want to thank the spectators. Local spectators come and supported the event very, very, very well. I think the Kelsey family was very happy with the turnout. I know there was some of the spectators that had to park up on top of the hill and wasn't happy about
it. Oh, yeah. I heard about that, yeah.
But you're going to have them people, that's, and if the Kelseys can do something to fix it, make it better, they will. There's no doubt about it, whether they got.
I don't think they were expecting that big of crowd.
Yep.
They get a little overwhelmed with the turnout. I mean, it's great news to have that many people, but they were a little overwhelmed with it. Tracy Banner had a question there on the bottom of the screen. Wanted to know if the NTPA rules was out yet. NTPA book is out. I'm not a part of that anymore. And the PPL book is at the printer. I was a part of that one. So but
Larry will answer whatever questions he knows, whether it's mostly right, but if it's wrong, he apologizes for that too. But I want to apologize.
I very seldom apologize because I'm very seldom wrong. I thought it was wrong once, but I was mistaken.
There you go. I also want to apologize for the live stream. They had some issues, that's bugs they're working out. Doug and Jason will get everything taken care of. And to let everybody know, all the money that was produced for that live stream went back to Just Add Dirt Motorsports. So they tried their best to make it the best they can. They are getting new equipment and have new equipment that failed on them on Friday. I was right there next to Doug. Doug and Jason were very frustrated and do apologize. If you have any complaints or even compliments, Jason will answer each and every one of them to his best of his ability. So, hour and a half into this, we appreciate each and every one of them. I don't have a calendar number. It says 0 on my screen, so no one wanted to hear me gab tonight. So, Mackenzie,
0?
Yep. Mackenzie.
Mine's up to 700, so I don't know what you're doing.
I heard I had a face for radio, so,
I do have a face for radio. I do. And a body to match.
Yeah, there you go. So from Mackenzie back at the studio at the Beer Money Studio, Larry Richwine over in Indiana, I'm Chuck Hops from Harmon, Illinois. We thank you for being with us tonight on the Beer Money polling page. live stream, and hopefully we will see you next time. We will be in Louisville at the Farm Machinery Show basically from Monday till Saturday next week. We'll check in everybody on Monday to recap the Farm Machinery Show and whatever crazy stuff. Mackenzie's going to do some videos. Larry and myself, we're going to check out. Everybody have a great Monday night.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. See you next week.